Hey guys, welcome back to Rice Camera Action. I'm your host as always, Jeff Gadet. Today I'm joined with an amazing friend of mine I've known for a while, right? Please introduce yourself.
My name is James Chung.
Yep, and so I invited James, I wanted to interview James today because actually James is one of the senior organizers and I guess leads of Seoul City Improv, correct?
Something along those lines, yeah.
What's your official title then? What would you say?
I just say director.
Director?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me a rundown what Seoul City Improv is, or SCI?
Yeah, we're the oldest improv group in Korea, or at least like English language improv group.
Yeah.
We were founded in 2007
Mm-hmm.
by Margaret Whittam, lovely human, and I joined 7 years ago or so when I first came to Korea.
Yep.
But yeah, we are just an improv group, I guess.
Yeah, so I guess so. I've been in Korea a little bit long, like 16 for me, and actually I did like take place. I did do the improv with Margaret back in the day, but it was always a lot of the organizers, the managers or directors, as you called yourself, they were coming and going. It was very transient. So, but now, like, you've actually taken the product, and I think you're doing great with it.
Yeah. I mean, I can only really get a sense of what that original Seoul City Improv was like, just from accounts. Back in the day, we used to blah blah blah, or just like reading through old community posts and emails and like seeing what kind of events they did.
Yeah, what it was is just basically a show like once a month, and not really any like practices or rehearsals, and it like they would just find a bar or a lounge that had a stage.
Yeah. No, I'm told.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of, I mean, we're really lucky because a lot of improv groups that are sort of not full on kind of like business operations, they sort of operate like that. And we are kind of in the middle, right? Because we have a stable venue and we run courses.
Yeah, okay.
But but we're not necessarily like trying to like hustle out there and like make this a living per se.
Well, I think there was some momentum that you had before the pandemic. Like you did have like traveling improv troops visiting you, and I think that have you even gone overseas?
Yeah, we did some exchange stuff. I mean, we get those offers here and there. Right now, to be honest, since COVID, I'm just trying to like focus on domestic growth, I guess, and really like stabilizing our community and like and just trying to like do the best improv that we can possibly do.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, you do have a strong following, and you have a stable theater. Actually, tell us about the information about where you guys perform or your classes.
Oh, the plug is already.
Well, let's do the plug right there, anyways, because sometimes people don't watch after like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So let's get that information out there quickly.
I was hoping to bury the lead in case people want to stay to the end, but
oh, we'll do it at the end again.
No, we perform at the Funtastic Theater in Samgakji.
Yeah.
So like one station away from. I guess like Doksapyeong Station.
Yeah.
Very close to the Itaewon area.
Yeah.
In case there are those that are unfamiliar.
Yeah.
But we perform twice a month at this point. And we have 8-week classes and open sessions, kind of like jams, things like that.
Yep. Yeah, and that's funtastic. F-U-N, then tastic.
Yeah.
When I first tried to find a theater, I was like, where the fuck is this fantastic theater?
Yeah. I mean, we can save my thoughts on the name of the theater.
Okay, yeah, no, we don't have to go. But yeah, so anyways, it's fantastic. But yeah, so normally what happens at so you have obviously like the work, you have classes, then you have like practices, and then you also have shows. So let's go into first, like, I guess, like the practices and the classes. Can you tell me about that?
All right, we'll peel back the onion.
Yeah,
so our main sort of community event is the open session. That's every Sunday, and that's open to anyone.
Yep.
We get such a wide kind of range of backgrounds
Yeah.
and skill levels
Right.
and kind of wow, that is inappropriate.
No worries.
Start from the top. No, yeah. So every Sunday we have our open sessions. That's sort of our like main kind of community building sort of event. And it's open to all skill levels and backgrounds and experiences and that's sort of our mainstay. That's like the thing that's been kind of going on since probably the beginning, I think. Some sort of like weekly meetup.
Right.
And
Well,
then-
I forgot to even ask this, but like what? So before you even came to Korea, you did improv in the States, right? So like, where did you actually do your improv? I did Second City in Toronto.
Yeah, I know. You've I've heard.
You've done the research on me?
I mean, you've mentioned it, but
Oh,
also
okay. Oh.
I remember watching. I was watching your interview with, I believe it's
with-
Kristen Pimley.
Okay, yeah.
I think she mentioned it, or was it with maybe with Brad and Ken?
It
or
might have been
something?
with Brad and Ken and with Kristen. Yeah, anyways,
Yeah,
yeah.
You know,
So
I think you like to sprinkle it in there.
I don't like to toot my own horn, but I just have to say, well, yeah, like I do have.
No, that's a cool experience. I mean,
Yeah.
you should definitely be.
Yeah.
You know, no. So I started improv about 15 years ago. Which point I would have been in high school.
Yeah.
And I was lucky. We had a new troupe kind of in our school, founded by a guy named Steve Heaton, who was pursuing kind of professional improv in our area.
Okay.
And there are a lot of like high school groups that are just like run by the funny history teacher or something.
Right. Yeah. Like
And-
there's always like the drama group. or
Sure,
troupe,
yeah,
But
yeah,
then
and they
there's
do-
like the offspring. Like then there's like an offspring of like the improv troupe, the people that were just too goofy to be serious on stage. and
Sure,
stuff.
yeah. But I got lucky because he was like well learned. He was a learned man of improv, a man of the books. But so that's where I started. I ended up doing some improv in university. A lot of my improv friends from university had come out to. We ended up going to the same, or a lot of my improv friends from high school went to the same university as me. So we ended up like doing improv together a bit, continuing our sort of like journey. And then I moved to LA and I was studying with the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater
Okay.
for a bit. And then I moved to Korea. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Upright Citizens Brigade is one of the better ones. I think that's where like Phil Hartman got his start.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of names. You can get into like I don't know Donald Glover or like not Tina Fey.
Tina Fey.
Amy Poehler's founded it with
Yeah.
Matt Besser.
Like I was gonna
Josh.
say Will Ferrell, but he's from Grounders.
He's from the Groundlings. Yeah,
Yeah,
we actually
Groundlings,
had
yeah.
a guy who had done improv with him a number of
Yeah.
times at the Groundlings Theater.
Yeah. So you brought what you learned at the Upright Citizens Brigade, and you bring it here.
Yeah, I mean,
the teachings from
we do a sort of like we have our own school of thought. I think that's
Okay.
something people don't really are not privy to. Rather,
Mm-hmm.
like it's not like common knowledge that there's like these different schools of thought of improv.
Yeah.
But we definitely like a lot of us were influenced by kind of UCB improvisers before kind of this direction started taking place. But we definitely lean heavily on like their sort of theory crafting of like what improv is and how kind of form works. And a couple of our members had studied there, and all of us had probably like a lot of our members have read through the book, the UCB manual.
Okay, I haven't read it, so I'm not familiar with it.
I mean, I don't necessarily recommend it. It's not like it's like a textbook,
Yeah.
right? It's not like a fun weekend read,
Yeah.
like a beachside. You're reading like hard improv theory.
Yeah.
But no, we ended up just kind of aligning in terms of like our goals with what that looks like. Because a lot of the theaters, they just have different, you focus on different aspects of improv and how to like create scenes.
I mean, like, I don't want to like shit on like the Second City, but it was like a lot of the classes were just the actors that had retired from the main stage that were teaching the classes when they had like breaks in their schedule. And mostly like in Toronto, people use like the Second City course. Actually, it's just businessmen trying to like to help with their presentation skills, to be more comfortable speaking and performing in front of people, they take these classes.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's
Like roast masters or something.
Roast masters, okay. Word. Yeah, no, I mean, in LA it's weird because basically everyone in class is like trying to be an actor.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
like, I'm in Hollywood, like I'm trying to like make it.
This is their networking.
And I'm like just like a dude who like loves improv.
Okay.
I'm not like, you know,
Well, everyone needs one of those. That's what I.
I'm not. Yeah, I wasn't necessarily trying to like pursue acting because
Yeah.
I'm from the East Coast, but my parents had moved out to Southern California while I was in school, and so after university, it kind of was like the natural progression, and you know, it made sense to continue my improv studies
Sure.
there. And I had a friend, one of my high school friends that I had done improv with
Yes.
in Virginia. He was living in LA and had done a couple of schools. He's like, I think UCB would be a really good fit for you.
Sure.
And he was totally right. I
Yeah.
fell in love for sure.
Well, like, so what? Now you've talked a little bit about your background, and now like you've brought that. You're the director of SCI, and so I think we've talked about this before. Like, you focus more like on long form. You like long form.
Love me some long form.
I'm more of a short form man. I like my 5 minutes in and out.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of formats with relation to long form that you can kind of do short formy things. But no, I mean, I just I like the creative freedom of just being like, do good improv versus, I mean, also just structurally, it's easier in terms of like planning because with short form you have to. Like, let's say you're creating a show, the production side of it is just like it just has more steps to it. Like you have to pick out a list of games and then teach everyone to do it. And then like kind of teach people like a lot of short form improv games, they have like kind of gimmicks or like things you can kind of pull from.
Yeah, like theater sports or whatever. There's like there's always like a handicap you have to overcome.
Or, I mean, but even like, in like an actual, like each game will have, has like a kind of trick you can always pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school and we were doing, and I was learning short form improv, our teacher, he was like, here's how the game works, and we would run it a bit, and then afterwards he'd be like, okay, cool. So here's some gimmicks. He would just call them gimmicks. He's like, here's some gimmicks you can use for this format that are usually pretty funny, right? Which was interesting because then you get to like kind of see, he's like telling you how the sausage is kind of made.
Yeah.
And that's all fun, but I like I love the creative freedom of just being like, here's a word and 45 minutes in front of an audience. Godspeed.
The thing, like, I do like long form, but the problem with that is actually, for me to actually be comfortable with long form, I have to actually be part of a troupe or a team I know in that team the members' strengths and weaknesses. But what happens with a lot of with SCI and with Jam, they do when I was always they were just people showing up, so I don't really know who's strong and who's weak or where.
No, it's.
But like the one thing about improv is it's always yes and accepting the offer. Or even putting yourself out there so someone gives you an offer and you take it too.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, making active choices, things like that. I mean, there's a lot of one-liner, like, here's the secret to improv, make the active choice. Or, I mean, yeah, the yes and is the kind of, that one's kind of memed out at this point.
Yeah, well, everyone knows that,
Like, because frankly, you can say no in improv. In fact, you often should. Yeah. If someone's like, we should go jump off a bridge, you should be like, no.
But like, no, you have to like,
but
why would we do that?
Yeah. But you're acknowledging the fact, the yes is that you're acknowledging the fact that there is a bridge with which you can jump off if you so chose to.
Right.
But,
I mean, the person did give you an offer, like, let's jump off a bridge. Okay, there's the offer. There will be a bridge, so maybe you can transition.
Yeah, so you're saying yes to the reality, and you're saying yes to your scene partner. You're saying no as a character, right? But I mean, you can get into. I mean, like I lecture about this stuff, right? But we do definitely. kind of lean long form. I personally do like long form, and I think, but we do both kind of styles, and they have their merits. And honestly, the audience ultimately, like, we're trying to make people laugh, and in terms of the audience, like, some people just like short form better, some people like long form better.
Maybe another reason why I stay away from long form, not with just like the fact that maybe I don't know my team very well. It's also, I'm always, when I'm on the stage, I make a decision, and sometimes I'm happy with the decision of the character I make, and sometimes I'm like, fuck, why did I do this? Because now if it's long form, I'm stuck doing this, like walking on my knees for 30 more minutes, and it's gonna hurt.
That sounds like you did that to you.
I do that to me, yeah, but it's just, yeah, in that moment I made a decision, and then in my head there's a 50-50. I'm always going, oh, that was a good idea, this is going to be funny, and then the other 50% is like going, crap, I just fucked myself.
You know,
so the short form gets me out of there, that bad decision quicker.
We had a guy named Brian Palermo come this year, a couple months ago.
Sure.
He was a 30-year Groundlings veteran. Really, really, really amazing improviser and great teacher. And one of the things he kept emphasizing was to make a high percentage choice. And so, like, making choices that, because there's not necessarily a right or wrong, but I guess, like, there are choices that will kind of, increase your chances of success, right? And that's what I often tell my students. It's like, what you did is totally fine, but, really, improv is hard enough as it is. We want to make choices that are going to make it easier for us long term. Yeah. Right?
I mean, yeah, it's like, I guess that's what, making a choice is good, but also do you agree with me, like, when you should not just go for the quick laugh, you should actually be more of a build-up?
Yeah, I mean, I have to keep emphasizing to, any new improviser, like new students, like, don't try to be funny.
Yeah.
The audience can, if you're trying to be funny, the audience can smell it, like they're like sharks with blood in the water, and you want to just focus on, honestly, my big thing is just like focusing on being honest, right? Honesty sure. in like the perspectives you bring or whatnot. Because like someone will, like, if not, you end up having people who create like really absurd premises, which is fine. But then, if you just kind of swing by them, like an example I often give is like, it's like two characters in conversations, and one of them's like, yeah, and it's been 12 months since I got pregnant, but my husband's been blah blah blah, and then like they just start having this conversation, and like you're in the audience being like, and by the way, this was a real example. Yeah. Like you're in the audience being like, wait a minute, 12 months pregnant? Like, I want to hear more about that. Like, what? I don't care about this grocery list.
It's a throwaway, like these words. Like,
but then you dig into, you call that out, and you're like, wait, you're 12 months pregnant, and the person's like, yeah, people treat you so well when you're pregnant. I've been trying to hold on to this as long as possible, or something like that. You can turn that into a perspective. Yeah,
like the doctor said, like I should be due any time now, but like that was like a couple months ago. But I'm having a good time. Can't you tell I'm glowing? And then
Yeah. I mean, really, it's like, we get into like the theory of how, like, what kind of justification, like what, like different types of justification and things like that. But yeah, I mean, like the big thing is just like teaching all these like kind of fundamental theories about like scene work and whatever, and then like, for example, our recent advanced level course graduates, like it was a smaller group, so I just drilled them over and over just on like really basic stuff for like a good chunk of like the course. And then it was like the last week or two I finally like introduced to them like the format that they were going to be actually performing. And
well, tell it like, so you have my research, you have 2 levels of courses, right?
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah, and how long is each course?
It's an 8-week course with a graduation show, so it's 9 weeks total.
Okay. Twice a week or once a week?
Once a week, 3 hours. Okay. Saturdays. Yeah, I mean, we have a higher like a 3rd level course kind of planned out, and I have a lot of students that want us to create it. It's just timing and logistics, you know.
Yeah. Are most of the students like the English teachers, or like like what kind of people is the class made up of?
Oh man. I mean, it might be like we literally have like, I mean, on our ads, it's like we have models and lawyers and business people. That's literally true.
Recently, I saw one of my friends, Adam from England, with the tall guy. With the mustache.
That's he's an actual model.
Yeah,
and so, but he's in our class. He we've had in this past course cycle, we had like, like an entrepreneur dude, like a model, some English teachers, some Korean folks that just like were interested in the class that studied abroad or speak English. We had a high school student. Didn't even know he was in high school until like a few weeks in.
We're gonna have a show and like when you guys can bring drinks. I'm like, my parents said I'm.
No. I mean, like they have much more agency than one would assume. I guess Korea's safe enough to just like let your kids go free.
Yeah.
No, it's a very kind of diverse group of folks, and for what it's worth, I feel very lucky in part. But we've had like in the past influencers, like people that are like doing influencing full time, or like TV people or whatever, like just it's a big range of folks, and there's no one demographic really. Can I pick this up, by the way?
Yeah, go ahead. It's just,
I feel like it's new agey to like just hold the
I
mic.
should actually get like the stage mics instead of these radio style ones, so we could just sit
this is
there.
totally fine. No worries.
Yeah, but it's like, well, I'm always like on set too, like I'll see like actors and I'll suggest, well, what happens, most of the actors and models in Korea are just, people that transition there. They got tired of their original office job or, teaching job that they had when they first came to Korea, and they basically they pivoted to acting because someone gave them a compliment. And like they fit this kind of niche that's needed in entertainment, but they lack some of the skills. And so I suggest to someone like, hey, you should come out to one of the improv things just so you could be more comfortable. And like, because also what happens in Korea when they're filming, they just give you like, okay, this is your character. They just like your character is businessman, and here's the script. But they don't know what type of businessman, so they're very hesitant to make choices.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're more just like talking heads.
Yeah. I mean, this is a couple of things. First of all, that pipeline of like English teacher to whatever actor model, it totally exists. I mean, in part because like teaching English is like sort of the gateway visa, right?
Yeah.
And on the other hand, like I've seen other people that just kind of want to come here for expressly doing something along those lines, like being a model or whatever. And but yeah, no, improv as a skill is, I mean, it's like we have people that come just for like the skill. They come for like how it will benefit them professionally, but then stay because it's a good ass time, you know.
They fall in love with the community.
And you get to and it is good practice especially if you're in entertainment. I mean, frankly, in LA, like having improv experience is like sometimes one of the prereqs of like an audition.
It's on everyone's resume, I'm sure. Like
I mean, it's like no, but yeah, I mean, what one of the things I have to explain to a lot of people is like a lot of comedy in the U.S. is founded on improv or using kind of concepts from improv to build out comedy. You know what I mean? And you like a lot of sketch comedies written like in a very like if you ever watch Key and Peele, you can like break down the things that they do in terms of like how it fits into improv theory, because a lot of these schools, they teach improv theory as kind of sort of like a pipeline to like sketch writing, and the concepts are very similar. So it's totally like it's totally beneficial
Yeah.
if that's the goal.
I mean, you're talking also about comedy, but there's also serious improv too, where you're not actually pursuing that laugh or trying. You're actually having a serious scene, maybe dramatic or something. Like
Sure,
that.
yeah. I
Have you
mean,
ever I've done that with SCI?
we'll rehearse serious scenes,
Mm-hmm.
just as a form of practice, but we're not doing dramatic. I mean,
It doesn't fill the seats.
I mean, we're trying to. I guess I do improv because I like making people laugh.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not necessarily about like I want to make people cry using my imagination. Yeah. So no, I mean, yeah, outside of just something to like practice, no, we haven't done.
Okay. But where can we, yeah? So we've talked about your classes. Yeah, you right now you have two levels, and then you're focusing maybe on a third level. What would that be? Like what the third level? What would that be more focusing on? So you right now level two, you finish it and you have your show, and you've basically taught the fundamentals. What would the third level be then?
The way I break it down basically is like the first level you learn to kind of it's very casual. It's you learn to kind of have fun with improv and enjoy doing it and get kind of and you learn some of the mechanics of it, like object work and emotions and things like that.
I remember it was like the first level was just people breaking down their mental walls to allow them to be more free and more spontaneous.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you just get you get that kind of extra. You get like guided practice into like creating doing improv. In our advanced level at the moment, we dive into sort of like kind of improv theory. There's a concept called game of the scene that's popularized by the UCB kind of format. That's like their main focus is this thing called the game of the scene. And we just have like 3-4 weeks where we just I lecture about that, and we just kind of go through those concepts. And there's like readings because there's a lot of, and it gets very heady.
Yeah.
And so by the time that you learn everything that we need to learn for this, a lot of students are like very much in their heads, and that's very normal for the second level.
I think I might have. Yeah, I had like one teacher like that. Yeah, he focused like on the game of the scene. Like it's like just the game. It's like finding the game within the scene or the fun within the scene. It was kind of a clown work kind of thing. And it was,
so I mean, I know the Second City uses that term, but they use it a bit differently than the UCB, and that gets into like these like.
He wasn't Second City. He was more of he was like clown. He was from clown school. So
okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, clown school. I don't know a ton about it, but I know that it's not.
It's not the balloon fucking face painting clown.
I mean,
like stage clown.
I don't know what other kinds of
Cirque du Soleil kind of clown.
Right.
Well, speaking in gibberish.
Sure, yeah, the classics. No. I mean, for us, it's literally like it's like talk about structure of scenes, right? How do you how do you establish what it is the scene is about, and like, how do you build upon those concepts, right? But basically the idea is within the second level you're learning so much content that it's hard to actively employ all of it within those 8 weeks plus the show. And so the third course would just be like just really having a chance to like grind through all of those mechanics and like just really polishing it down.
Like so when I think about the teacher that told me like the game and the scene, it was also applying more of your emotion to it and like and just be acting spontaneous, like if you're frustrated, like just actually doing frustration. If someone's denying or blocking you, you show that and you want to have fun.
Sure,
it's not about it because as well as like just you're not there only just to make the audience laugh. If you could actually find fun, if you could actually enjoy what you're doing, that's also important too, and that's more earnest.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of good tenets for performative works. Although that term's used quite differently in this context. For sure.
It's used
I mean,
it's
ways. every like you gotta understand, like it goes back to the schools of thought thing. And plus, okay, no, there's no retention because no one wants to hear about deep improv theory. If you do, come talk to me personally.
All right, you have to pay him if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get
no,
more.
but there's not. No, there's
All
really.
right, so with Seoul City Improv, Seoul, obviously that's where we are right now. Have you like gone to other cities within South Korea, like?
Yes.
Or are you thinking about maybe going down to Busan or Daegu?
Literally, someone asked me this yesterday.
Okay.
And it like brings up these very traumatic experiences. We performed in Busan. We were invited to perform at the Busan International Comedy Festival.
Right.
A couple of years ago, and that was. It was a very interesting experience.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they had a showcase of a bunch of like kind of comedians or like performing arts type things just on the boardwalks on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like mic'd up with those like clear tubes that you see on like gag concert or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a row of just like a bunch of performers.
Right.
And we're trying to do improv in English. And so we realized it just has to be less dialogue based and more like physical.
Mm-hmm.
And you know we can adjust for that, although it's not necessarily like where we're at our peak per se. But it was really funny. One, next to us is a dude like breathing fire.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are we supposed to build a crowd in the street? These dudes be breathing fire next to us. It's very distracting.
Right.
We did have a couple of people that wanted to
But
like.
it's comedy. This guy breathing fire.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
Lucy
loosely had a. I mean, I wasn't focused on it. I
Yeah.
could just tell I can clearly see the fire part, but
Right.
I'm not focused on his act because we're doing our own thing. But I mean, we had a couple people, like we had a small crowd gather, but afterwards, this mother with her daughter comes up to us and she's like, "My daughter wants to be an actress, and here's her comp cards or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like and like showing us her like headshot. I'm like, ma'am, I'm not an agent.
I'm not an agent.
I can't. I don't know.
I'm doing, performing in the street. I'm busking. What do
Yeah,
you
I'm
think?
basically busking at the moment.
Yeah.
I know you want to find a big break for your daughter, but frankly, I, as like some Korean American guy, cannot help you with this. But she wouldn't. She wouldn't.
Take no.
She was relentless. I mean, it was just like our soft nose weren't getting to her.
Yeah.
And the daughter was like so embarrassed. She was just like kind of just like looking away the whole time. And then the other one was we were performing at like the military bases for a while.
Okay.
But then basically the last one, we were like, I opened the door to where we were supposed to perform, and we'd performed at this base a number of times. And this was in Seongnam, and like. But basically, I opened the door, and it's a different space than we had performed in the past, but we'd performed there a number of times with great success. Open the door, and like, there's an Apache helicopter like in front of me, and I was just like, "What the fuck is this?" And I looked to the left, and I realized it's just an airplane hangar, and they're wanting us to perform their Christmas party. And before us was a children's choir, and there were like wireless mics that kept cutting out, and I was just like, "This is not gonna work." Yeah. I gave them the most professional amount of time I could muster to give, but that was very. I remember like we had a line game, and one of our members like goes up to do like a one-line joke, and it's like you can't hear anyone anyway.
Because it's in a hangar, and the sound just travels.
The sound disappears, right? Yeah. You can barely make out any sound. I can't hear what anyone's saying. Yeah. Like it's impossible to get like a suggestion. You have to like run up to the people who are eating, like families that are eating, stick a mic in their face, realize that it cut out. So you have to run back, be like, "This is what they said, blah, blah, blah," as a suggestion. And, but yeah, one of our members, like we're doing a line again. One of our members, she like walks up, says her one line, and she turns around and she goes, "Kill me now." and we haven't been back to that base ever since. Sorry, K16. Love you guys, but that was very traumatic.
So as well, when I asked you, when you were talking about Busan, you said, you were mic'd up and like you didn't focus more on like speaking. It wasn't the English, but more the performing. Now, I think you've done also improv in Korean. what's that scene like?
Yeah, no, I mean, the improv in Korean, there's a number of groups that do it, and
Is it similar to what, gag concert?
I mean, here's
Is
the
there a
thing.
concept to a gag concert?
Well, I haven't watched enough gag concert.
I don't watch it, but
to be like, yeah, it's just like gag concert.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but the thing is, I know gag concert.
Saturday Night Live or Saturday
I
Night
know
Live
people kind of joke about how gag concerts very like slapsticky or whatever, and I'm, you know, I know it can be, but you know, sometimes they do have like really funny kind of like wordplay type comedy and things like that, and they're very successful at what they do. Saturday Night Live even has had the recent edition has some like really great bits that are like got really famous. I also haven't watched enough of it to like
right, yeah, but more my question was like what yeah, like do they try to imitate that with the improv?
So I guess not necessarily, but also it's fair. It really depends on. The first times I started performing in Korean, they were all like professional actors, and then me, just because, and they only had me around because I just had a lot of improv experience. Whereas they were just like, you know, more fluent in Korean because I am not like. I don't understand like the in elementary school this thing happened kind of references per se, right? But you know, I think I will say this. I don't I want to teach our kind of theory and like our kind of method in Korean and like see how it unfolds,
right?
Because even with like even in English improv, if people are inexperienced, there's just a lot of like dick jokes and like pooping, like the number of pooping in a toilet scenes I've seen.
Oh, that's the worst. Like, can I get a suggestion from the audience? Dildo, and like,
yeah, and it's like, you know, you learn to work with it, but then like, so I don't know. It's hard for me to like judge the Korean improv scene in any sense per se, but I've seen like,
is it similar then to the English scene?
Like for example, improv, even in their group, they have like a huge kind of range of how much experience people have. And Helena, she runs improv. I saw her do a solo long form set with like 3 like different like sets of scenes, each with like beats. It basically was like a solo. Jeez. For those like familiar with improv, it was like a solo herald, and it was very impressive.
Wow.
Really, really strong. And like, and she like managed to bring all these like characters back together in the end, in like a grand kind of finale. And she's playing like 6-8 different characters, right? And it was very strong and well received. So, but on the other hand, yeah, there are newer kind of Korean language improvisers who are going for like slapsticky jokes, like they're falling down a lot, like doing whatever, and like. So I mean, it's so young here, though.
I think the thing I didn't describe how I see how gag concerts like. It's more like talking heads, more and prop driven, and they come out in their character, but their character you could tell what they are by the way that they're dressed, but it's not something they're focusing more on like crutches, like so they'll have if they want to pretend they're a student, they're just wearing a student's uniform, or if they're a farmer.
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of sketch comedy, right?
They're just talking head. They're just standing side by side, talking heads, almost like Abbott and Costello kind of thing. Listen,
the advent of live comedy in Korea, I don't know what it looked like, before like the Joseon dynasty, but as far as I'm concerned, modern comedy in Korea is relatively new.
It's growing, yeah, and
it's changing so much, right? And I would hate to like kind of say anything that gets dated just because the forms are young. I mean, even stand up in Korean had basically zero presence until say like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. I've talked to people about this too. Like, yeah, when I was there when I first started, and it would actually be the Korean stand-ups. There would just be more storytelling, and they weren't really punchline. They weren't setting up punchlines, but it's just more of a humorous situation that they're retelling. And there wouldn't be laughter, but there would be admiration. Like if someone told at the end, there'd be clapping and laughter.
You know, there's a number of folks, like, there's a lot of different approaches. There are a few folks that like have learned from, you know, having studied abroad or something, and they figured out like things that work for them. But you know, again, it's sort of like it's still young here. Yeah. It's still young here, and I don't want to judge like what is this culture like. What is Korean society's like? How is their style of comedy when it's still growing quite a bit, and something that I'm not even confident to like speak on, because I'm not, honestly, I don't watch a ton of Korean comedy. I've seen some great ones.
Well, like with stand up now, like there was one Korean American, he was doing stand up, I guess, for like in the States for 15 years, and then he came here.
Danny Cho,
and he's
good
like,
guy.
Well, yeah, he's a great guy, but he's actually changed it. So and he's kind of like, now Korean comedy is going through a renaissance, and they actually go, oh, you know, do it like doing like little bits and like figuring out like again, that laugh is more better. Laughter is better than applause.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he has some great bits, and I actually really love comparing some of the bits he's done in Korean and English. Some of them hit way harder in Korean, just because the Koreans always talk about this, but the grammar structure, and this gets into a whole.
It's
topic
very hard. Yeah.
This gets into a whole topic that I'm not even like. I don't even feel confident speaking about. But Korean grammar structure, like, you know, you can. One of the things Korean people love to say is like, in Korean, you always have to wait for the last word. Yeah. The last word can change the meaning of a sentence.
The last word is the action of it.
And so and I guess in that sense, like, you can really bury a punchline to the end, and like and it can hit really hard for it. And you know, it's like, again, like, it's so like, if we're like, what was, you know, early improv like, and I know even like a lot of early improv was bad, or a lot of early stand-up wasn't very good.
Well, yeah, like you're going
like Who's on First is funny, but like it's like it feels so dated now.
Throughout like civilization, like, yeah, theater's gone through a transformation. Yeah, the Romans were doing plays, and then, you know, like, they had their own style of humor, and then, you know, Shakespeare had his own style. Then, you know, like, you're getting now more into, then there's like, the invention of like slapstick and like, so in movies, and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just hate to see like it's a very easy target to be like, yeah, Korean comedy is like not funny, blah blah blah, and like, I mean, there's so many. It's like, but that topic itself is like, I guess I want to treat it with generosity and respect, but I can't even really speak to it because, frankly, like,
do you think it's over censored still? It's like, it's because
no, I mean, I won't say over censored, because that's
celebrities. I remember like Yu Byung-jae, like he has like 2 stand-up specials on Netflix, and like his first one, the first 10 minutes, he's basically, it's like, hey, I'm represented by YG, like it's one of the big production agencies, and so I can't talk about this as well, this person, and that, like, his first 10 minutes was actually how much he can't say because of Korean society.
So, I mean, I don't know that he was censored. Yeah. Right? It's more, you know, like, there are times when you would want to avoid certain topics because it's just like not, you know, the social norm, I guess. Okay. But honestly, by doing that, he is talking about those.
He is
topics.
Talking about,
and that's the thing. Well, that's the thing.
It's like, saying that something's taboo is still like talking about.
Yeah, but that's just that's the joke, right?
It's
the
joke. Yeah.
You know, for me, I always talk about like, there's no topic that's like out of bounds per se.
Mm-hmm.
But like, are we approaching it from like an intelligent and creative and innovative way? If not, or are you just being racist,
Well,
right?
mocking it, yeah.
Using like the guise of like mocking racism.
Yeah,
to,
are you
like,
trying to have a discussion? Are you trying to open up?
and if it's not interesting, you just want to like do an accent or something. It's like, okay, fine, but like, or like if it's not interesting and you just like want to like, I don't know, like say some slurs or something. It's like, well, where does that come from? You know, can we do better than that, right? And for what it's worth,
context is important too.
After you're able to, I mean, this goes back to like newer kind of improvisers and comedians. Like, you go for these like kind of low hanging bits because you either you're kind of there's like anxiety, like comedic anxiety, or they've worked in the past and you want to just keep pushing those buttons, but you know, you force yourself out of that box. You completely force yourself out of that box. And then I've seen like students really fucking do some such innovative ideas that are so funny. I'm serious. Yeah. And it's like, but you have to be like, yeah, I got to take the pool floaties off at some point. I'm taking the goddamn training wheels off at some point. Right. And it's not because like, I think that you have to be able to just keep kind of pushing that.
Sure.
Again, it's not about we like, you know, it's not about like censoring topics, but it's like, are we approaching this in the smartest way possible?
Right. I think you and I could just talk another like hour about this.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Yeah. But right. Like we're pretty much past, we're at near the end of it. So would you like to plug like the social media of SCI or
before I do that, I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Number one, I completely planned on approaching this as an ASMR artist.
Yeah.
And being like, Jeff, I've rebranded as an ASMR influencer, and then having long nails, and I'm just scratching the mic the whole time.
Oh, really?
Thankfully for you, I didn't. And number two.
Well, I would be hearing it because I have the headphone. I'm like, well, can you fucking stop it?
Yeah. Number two, wait, how many ethnically Korean folks have you interviewed?
You would be my first.
Hell yeah, I made it, y'all. Representation matters.
Like,
hashtag stop Asian hate.
No, it's like this is like number 20 of it. Like I wanted to improve. Like
it's statistically unlikely, Jeff.
Yeah, unfortunately, like this has been very. Yeah, in South Korea, you're my first Asian.
I'm kidding. I mean, listen. I understand because you want to, you know, reach out to your immediate community and your like people you associate with.
Yeah, like I'd be on set. I'm like, hey, do you have free time?
Yeah,
there have been some people that have actually turned me down, but
yeah, sure. Anyways,
okay, one person. I've been turned down. There's been one person turned me down.
Names, name and shame.
Okay, his name was Ivan.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
Anyways,
he was a dancer.
Okay, word. Well, glad to be the inaugural Korean American.
I want to get more. Yeah,
ethnic Korean man in this Korean comedy based discussion.
I'm doing bad, guys.
Sorry to put you on blast.
No, I need it anyways.
Actually, and then I guess that's number 3 is to answer your question. You can find us on I don't know, socials, Instagram. If you just look on Google, we're there. But Seoul City Improv SCI, that's our handle on Instagram. Facebook is honestly less active. We're trying to appeal to the younger crowd.
Do you have a webpage if people want to apply for the classes?
Yeah, soulcityimprov.com. Just look us up on Google. You know, I mean, we're easy to find.
Yeah.
If your heart's in it to look.
Yeah, and then when you mostly post the shows, the twice a month shows on.
They'll be on Instagram. Honestly, the website graphic, I need to just get rid of it because it's never updated. But the calendar's updated for the shows for like the next year. Okay,
cool. And and you can follow me on my Instagram at Comedy Jeffy.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
Well, no, thank you. Thank you for inviting me into your home and like
Oh, yeah.
answering my questions for 50 minutes, and
Yeah.
then at the very end, at the finish line, putting me on blast.
I had to do it. Yeah.
No, I need it. I need it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming by, though.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Okay, and thank you guys. See you again. Bye bye.
Don't we have to clap?